Well, we're talking about GSP, and one of your opponents, the gentleman you actually won your title off of, Luke Rockhold. He's been very vocal, about you specifically, and about this fight. He's not too happy with you at all. Which, whatever, rightfully so. You guys aren't fans of each other, so I don't expect him to say nice things about you, as I'm sure you feel the same way.
To be honest, listen, I have nothing against Luke. I mean, he was on UFC Tonight on Wednesday, and you could see he was just seething. Anytime my name was brought up, you could see the hostility on his face. Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, I've got no hostility against Luke Rockhold. To be honest, he was a former opponent. He said some things that bothered me at the time. But of course, now, that's in the past. I don't sit here obsessing over Luke Rockhold. Now, of course, I took his belt and not the other way around, so it's easy for me to say that. But sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm just kind of thinking about this now as well. This is so funny. I don't know if you saw this meme. You had to have, because people fucking troll you all the time. And if you haven't seen it, I'll send it to you after the show. But it's a meme on Instagram, and it says the difference between Bisping and Rockhold.
What is it?
When Rockhold beat you, it has this very dramatic violin music, and he hugs you and he's like, "Brother, good job." And then it cuts to this I don't know if it's a metal riff or hip hop or whatever it is, but it's you winning, and you're like, "Fuck you, buddy, fuck you," and it literally just anybody who's fucking a fan of the sport, I feel like it would turn them into more of a fan of yours than against you.
Right, hold on a minute. Now, I think I haven't seen that one, but I have seen it doing the rounds, and people saying, "Oh, they compared the two when they first won. Rockhold was all class and Bisping was a douche."
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you right now what happened after I beat Rockhold. So I win, I jump on the cage, and I screamed, "Fuck you," because he said some things at the press conference what pissed me off and this and that, and he tried to discredit me. But whatever. So I get down off the cage, I have my moment, I walk around, and I shake his hand. I go up to Luke, I shake his hand, and I say, "Unlucky pal, well done, all the best, blah 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 blah." I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was nice things, congratulatory things. I mean, it's over, it's done. And then I'm walking around the octagon and I'm having my moment as I'm entitled to, and I'm waving at the crowd and I'm hugging my team and this and that. And as I'm walking around the octagon, I find myself walking past Luke Rockhold again. So I again go to shake his hand and say, "Listen, well done," and whatever, all that type of stuff. And he goes, "I already shook your hand." I said, "No, yeah, I know it." And he says, "No, I already shook your hand." I said, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm trying to be nice here." He's like, "I already shook your hand again." I said, "Oh, well, do you know what? If that's how you want to be, then fuck you, dickhead." I said, "Do you even know where you are?" I said, "You just got knocked out, buddy. You might want to take a seat." Well, no, he was being a dick with me.
Yeah,
so I thought, you want to be a dick? All right, we'll shove it up your ass, and here we go.
Well, it shows you how the internet, you can edit things in any way, and it's
exactly.
And they run with it.
So that's why then I went into full on dick mode, because he was still being a dick. And then, of course, I walked into the press conference afterwards, and he was still continuing it there. But why did we get talking about Rockhold? What was he saying?
Oh, because this is his quote. I'll read his quote about you fighting George St. Pierre. He says, "I'm bummed they took this route. It's kind of taken away from the heart of the sport. It's about the top guys fighting each other. This isn't the WWE. This is fighting. It's what it's all about. So when they make moves like this, it definitely makes you question a lot of things that they're doing and how they approach things." And before I get your response to specifically that statement, I want to say, this isn't the first time the UFC is setting up a big money fight in lieu of the number one contender. I mean, we watched Chael Sonnen, coming off of 2 losses, move up a weight class and fight John Jones, specifically because Chael was just good on the microphone, not because he was the absolute best fighter at 170 pounds for years and a dominant champion who retired with the belt and is coming back. So, this isn't a WME move. This isn't the new age of the UFC. They've been putting together big money fights since day one when they can make it happen. And I kind of feel like that's kind of an unfair statement to make about today's climate in MMA.
Well, of course, he's kind of bummed out because, this fight with me and George, hopefully, touch wood, it does a lot of business, does big numbers, and we both make a lot of money. Of course, that could have been Rockhold had I not knocked him out. So, he's a little bitter about the situation. But my point is, though, to Luke is, why is he so bothered? Because he hasn't even fought since that fight. He was scheduled to face Jacare. He pulled out, said he was injured, whatever. If he was, then God bless him and all the best in your recovery. But he has to fight. It's as simple as that. So whether or not I was fighting GSP or Yoel Romero, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference to Luke Rockhold because he wouldn't be getting the title shot.
Yeah.
You know, he was supposed to fight Jacare. He pulled out. At this moment in time, there is no talk of a fight. He's even calling out Fabrizio Verdum, which is ridiculous. That's just him trying to get some headlines because he knows he's never going to get to face Fabrizio Verdum. Verdum ain't going to take that fight. He's focused on the heavyweight title. What's he got to gain from facing Luke Rockhold? Absolutely nothing. But in the meantime, that makes Rockhold look like a badass. Yeah, I want to fight former heavyweight champion Fabrizio Verdum. That makes him look like a badass. But even though he knows that fight's never, ever going to happen.
It's a smart move, Mike. You should you got to call out some heavyweights. It's incredible.
I don't need to call out any heavyweights. I've got every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every man under the sun calling me out. You know what I mean? So I don't need to start calling out heavyweights. I've got enough people that want to fight me for crying out loud. But Luke just needs to get past it, brother. Come on. Simmer down, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he never actually defended his belt, right? He beat Weidman for the belt, and then he lost it to you. So, you know, it's not like it was like, I thought like Jose Aldo, even though he got scorched in like a minute or whatever it was against Conor, Jose Aldo was a dominant champion for so long. I felt like they kind of screwed him by not giving him a rematch right away. I feel like he did enough for that division. He made that divion.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, pardon me. I didn't mean to interrupt. But
no, please.
You're absolutely right, Lewis. You're absolutely right. When you look at the body of work that Jose Aldo had, the amount of times he defended the belt, the fact that he was considered number one pound for pound in the world, and all this type of stuff. When you look at that, of course, you see an argument for an immediate rematch. But what you don't see is when you look at, Jose Aldo's record is the history leading into that title fight. Now, remember, Jose and Conor were scheduled to fight, and they went on the world tour, and they went all over the place, and these two fighting was rammed down everybody's throats, and the promotion was great. It was awesome. Conor McGregor was on fire. Jose was reciprocal, and the whole thing was great, and it got everybody so excited. And at International Fight Week, they were supposed to fight. Jose Aldo pulled out of the fight. He pulled out of the fight, and it was very disappointing. Chad Mendes came in last minute. Conor McGregor took him out in the second round and became the interim champion. And then they had it all over again. So the promotion started again, and Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor. Now the fight took place, and Conor couldn't have done it any better. Took him out in 13 seconds flat, and that was it, cold. It wasn't even close. Now, the thing is then, you're absolutely right. On paper, maybe Jose should have got an immediate rematch. But are you telling me that the UFC are then, because they are a business, they've got to spend a shit ton of money shoving that fight down everybody's throat a third time in a row?
Yeah.
People wouldn't have bought it. I think by that point, they were emotionally exhausted from it. And I just don't think it was a smart business move. You're absolutely right. When you look at the body of work involved, Jose deserved a rematch. But when you look at it from a business perspective and a social and a public perspective, they've had that fight, Jose McGregor shoved down their throat so much, I don't think it would have done big business, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're probably right about that. And also the other factor that I wasn't even kind of considering is the fact that Jose Aldo pulls out of a ton of fights. Like he gets injured a lot. There's been a bunch of fights, a bunch of 13, 14 month layoffs. So you had kind of made the same point about Habib, about him pulling out, and him, and that might have been him screwing himself for a shot at Conor, because Conor doesn't want to put in that promotion again. It happened with Jose in the past. So there's definitely some validity to it. But once again, I have to say, somebody like Jose, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little weird.
But Jose's in a good spot, let's be honest. He came back and fought Frankie Edgar for a was it an interim title fight? Yeah, the interim lightweight title.
And now they're combining it with Max, right? But what about you? Do you recognize that as a real title, right? Do you look at that 145-pound strap, even though Conor gave it up, right? Conor beat Jose. He never got beat for it. Is there a part of you that's going like, okay, I don't really recognize Jose or Max Holloway as the real champion until they beat Conor? Because that's the way I feel.
Yeah, well, and you'd be forgiven for feeling that way, and kind of I do. I mean, Conor did the right thing in some ways because, listen, he was undefeated at featherweight, he won the belt, and then he vacates the belt. In some ways, he will forever be the 145-pound champion. All he has to do is make weight again. So in a lot of people's eyes, let's be honest, he beat both of them. He beat Jose in 13 seconds, and he beat Max Holloway. And Max Holloway was the only one to take him to a decision. Granted, he's older now, and he has drastically improved, but even still, Conor does own a victory.
Conor's also drastically improved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody improves. It's called progression. The more you train in this sport, the better you get. And I guess he will be forever the 145 champion, I guess. Because, listen, even though Jose's the champion now, I mean, it's still fresh in everybody's mind that Conor knocked him out in 13 seconds. As simple as that. It wasn't that long ago. That isn't forgotten about. I mean, when was that? 2 years ago? And Jose's only fought, once since then? So... yeah, no, I guess in my mind, Conor's still the champion. He's the champ.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Look, it's a weird thing because I asked you about that because you said you have no problem with retiring with the title. And I was like, well, technically, essentially, you are killing the 185-pound title. If nobody beats you for it, then whoever, gets it after you is technically a paper champion. Tyron Woodley.
At least I'm only holding up one division. I'm not holding up two divisions.
That's also true. Yeah, nobody makes that point either.
Exactly. He's holding two divisions hostage, so to speak, right now. At least I'm only doing it to one.